The year was 1934. The sun beat down on a deserted Texas highway. A lone Ford V8 roared down the empty road, kicking up a plume of dust.
Gripping the dash.
Eyes meeting Bonnie's in the rearview mirror.
Inside, Bonnie Parker gripped the dash, knuckles white. Clyde Barrow wrestled the wheel, eyes scanning for pursuit. They were running, always running. This time, the stakes felt higher. Clyde's eyes met Bonnie's in the rearview mirror. A shared history of fear and exhilaration. They were partners, lovers, outlaws bound together by their past, hurtling into an uncertain future. The air inside the car was thick with fear.
Breath catching in her throat.
Grip tightening around hers.
Bonnie reached for Clyde's hand. His grip tightened, a reassuring anchor. Their love was a dangerous dance, fueled by stolen moments and unwavering loyalty. The story of Bonnie and Clyde isn't just a love story. It's a saga, etched in blood and bullets. A tapestry of desperation, ambition, and tragedy. Their names have become synonymous with a romanticized vision of lawlessness. But beneath the legend lies a complex truth of the Great Depression, rebellion, and human connection. This is the untold epic of Bonnie and Clyde, a story that will stay with you long after the last bullet has been fired. Bonnie Parker, born in 1910, was a child of the Texas Dust Bowl. Despite hardship, she bloomed, a bright spark in a dreary world.
Dreaming of a life beyond the confines of her small town.
Bonnie dreamed of a life beyond her small town, devouring books and writing poetry. Her words reflected her yearning for something more. Little did she know, her poems would become the haunting soundtrack to an extraordinary and tragic life. Clyde Barrow, born in 1909, faced a different kind of hardship. His family, sharecroppers, struggled to put food on the table.
I worked the fields, my back bent under the Texas sun.
A petty theft landed him in a Texas prison. Prison didn't break Clyde. It forged him, hardening his resolve and twisting his sense of right and wrong. Clyde emerged with a simmering rage and a dangerous ambition. Bonnie and Clyde, two souls born into hardship, were bound by destiny.
I sought escape in the written word, my heart set on a world of beauty and romance.
Clyde craved power and respect, his anger festering into ambition. Their paths, frustratingly separate, were about to collide. The world, oblivious to their struggles, was on the cusp of witnessing the birth of a legend. In the winter of 1930, Bonnie and Clyde's paths crossed in West Dallas.
Fresh out of prison, I was immediately smitten by Bonnie's radiant energy.
Bonnie saw something different in Clyde's intense gaze.
I regaled Clyde with tales of my dreams of Hollywood stardom.
Clyde, eager to impress, boasted of his exploits. They were two lost souls, drawn together by a shared longing for something more. Their courtship was a whirlwind of stolen moments.
Bonnie, you deserve everything. I'll get you the world if I have to steal it.
Clyde indulged Bonnie's every whim, showering her with stolen gifts.
Clyde, it's all so exciting. I've never felt so alive.
A botched robbery ended in bloodshed. Bonnie, horrified, chose Clyde over reason. It was a decision that would forever brand them as outlaws. next few months were a blur of robberies and narrow escapes.
Did you see the papers, Clyde? They think we're some kind of heroes.
Newspapers sensationalized their exploits, portraying them as modern-day Robin Hoods.
We're unstoppable, Bonnie. Just you and me against the world.
Their love became a dangerous addiction, living for the thrill of the chase. They shared stolen kisses and danced to the radio, their destinies intertwined. As their notoriety grew, so did the danger. Texas Ranger Frank Hamer was assigned to the case.
This isn't a game, folks. Bonnie and Clyde are dangerous, and they need to be stopped.
Hamer saw through the romanticized facade, recognizing the darkness at their story's heart.
They'll never catch us, Bonnie. We're too smart for them.
They believed they could outrun the law. But their love had become a liability, trapping them in a cycle of violence and desperation. The world had become a much more dangerous place, not just for Bonnie and Clyde, but for anyone who crossed their path. Their early robberies, often impulsive and haphazard, had escalated into a string of violent encounters. Gas stations, roadside diners, even banks. No establishment was safe from their desperate grabs for cash and fleeting freedom. Each heist, each bullet fired, chipped away at the romantic facade that had initially surrounded their exploits. The newspapers, once eager to paint them as folk heroes, now reported on the mounting body count, with a mix of morbid fascination and growing condemnation. The public, once captivated by their audacity, began to see them for what they truly were. Dangerous criminals, their love story a thin veneer over a heart of darkness.
The faces of the lawmen we had killed, the innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire, flickered through my dreams, their accusing eyes burning into my soul. I tried to find solace in my writing, but the words wouldn't come, replaced by a gnawing sense of guilt and the chilling realization that our story was spiraling towards an inevitable and tragic end.
The Barrow Gang, as they had become known, once a loose-knit group of drifters and petty thieves, had dwindled under the constant pressure of the law. Some members had been killed in shootouts, others captured and imprisoned. The remaining few, bound to Bonnie and Clyde by a mixture of loyalty, fear, and shared desperation, lived in a state of perpetual anxiety, knowing that each sunrise could be their last. Clyde, his nerves frayed by years of living on the edge, grew increasingly paranoid.
I trusted no one, not even my own gang members, suspecting betrayal at every turn. I slept with a pistol under my pillow, my dreams haunted by visions of police sirens and the cold steel of handcuffs. My love for Bonnie, once a source of strength, had morphed into a desperate, possessive need to keep her close, to shield her from a world that seemed determined to tear us apart.
Their hideouts, once havens of stolen moments and reckless laughter, had become cages of paranoia and fear. Gone were the days of carefree joyrides and nights spent dancing under the stars. They moved from town to town, state to state, always looking over their shoulders. Their laughter silenced by the constant threat of capture. The walls were closing in, the noose tightening, and they were running out of road. In the summer of 1933, amidst the chaos and violence, Bonnie and Clyde found themselves drawn to a secluded stretch of woods near Dexter, Iowa. For a few precious days, they allowed themselves to believe they could escape. It was a fleeting dream, a fragile bubble of hope. But for those few precious days, they believed they could outrun their destiny. Their respite, however, was not to last. Their presence in Iowa did not go unnoticed.
Frank Hamer, relentless in his pursuit, had been tracking their movements, piecing together their itinerary like a macabre jigsaw puzzle.
He had assembled a posse of seasoned lawmen, their faces grim, their resolve hardened by years of chasing outlaws across the vast expanse of the American Southwest.
Hamer had studied Bonnie and Clyde, learning their habits, anticipating their moves. He knew their love for fast cars, their penchant for impulsive robberies, their unwavering loyalty to their gang members.
He set a trap, a carefully orchestrated ambush designed to exploit their weaknesses and bring their reign of terror to a swift and decisive end.
The net was closing in, the noose tightening around Bonnie and Clyde's necks. Their days of freedom, of reckless laughter and stolen kisses were numbered.
The world, weary of their violence and eager for a resolution to their saga, held its breath, bracing for the inevitable climax, a climax that would be etched in blood and forever cement their place in the annals of American crime. The sun beat down on a rural Louisiana highway, the air thick with the smell of honeysuckle and impending doom. It was May 23rd, 1934. Bonnie and Clyde were driving into a meticulously planned trap. They had spent the previous night in separate cabins, plagued by premonitions.
I can't shake this feeling, Bonnie. Something's not right.
I know, Clyde, but whatever it is, we'll face it together.
Clyde felt the familiar itch of unease prickle his skin. He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, scanning the roadside. Bonnie sensed his tension. She reached for his hand, a silent reassurance. They were headed toward Sadie's Black Hawk restaurant.
Just a little further, Clyde. We'll be all right.
Unbeknownst to them, Frank Hamer and his posse lay in wait. The lawmen were silent, their weapons loaded. They had come to settle a score, to write the final chapter. The Ford rumbled closer to the ambush point. The air crackled with unspoken tension, the silence broken by crickets and a crow.
Bonnie, get down! The Ford, a blur of steel and chrome, crossed the line between life and death. The morning erupted in a deafening roar. Hamer's posse unleashed a torrent of gunfire. Clyde, caught off guard, never reached for his shotgun.
Clyde, I love you. The Ford, riddled with bullets, crashed into a ditch. The engine sputtered and died. Bonnie and Clyde were united in death. Their bodies slumped against each other.
Bonnie lay still, clutching a crumpled poem. Clyde's face was frozen in surprise. The lawmen approached the bullet-riddled car. The silence was heavy with the weight of what had transpired. The ballad of Bonnie and Clyde had reached its bloody crescendo. News of Bonnie and Clyde's demise spread like wildfire, carried on the whispers of the wind and the urgent clatter of telegraph keys. The nation, captivated by their exploits for 2 tumultuous years, was both shocked and strangely relieved. The newspapers, the front pages dominated by grainy photographs of the bullet-riddled Ford and the lifeless couple, proclaimed the end of an era. The public, however, found it harder to let go. Bonnie and Clyde, despite the brutality of their crimes, had captured the imagination of a nation grappling with the hardships of the Great Depression. They were seen as symbols of rebellion. Their love story, a tragic Romeo and Juliet tale set against the backdrop of Dust Bowls, bank failures, and a yearning for a better life. In death, as in life, Bonnie and Clyde remained forever entwined. Their legend, fueled by Hollywood portrayals and countless songs and stories, continued to grow, eclipsing the grim reality of their crimes. Tourists flocked to the site of their demise, leaving behind trinkets and whispered prayers. Their fascination, a testament to the enduring power of their story. The Ballad of Bonnie and Clyde may have ended on that dusty Louisiana highway, but their legend, a cautionary tale of love, lawlessness, and the seductive nature of fame, lived on, a haunting reminder that even the most desperate of dreams can have deadly consequences. The bullet-riddled Ford, a macabre relic of a bygone era, is long gone, but the echoes of Bonnie and Clyde's tumultuous journey continue to reverberate through history. Their story, a potent cocktail of love, lawlessness, and fame, still captivates and horrifies. They were criminals, their hands stained with blood. Yet, their love story remains compelling, a tragic counterpoint to their era's harsh realities. Their audacity and rebellion resonate, a testament to our fascination with outlaws,